let's move on because the second half just gets even more powerful and deeper to me. Becoming more proud of this guy. The opponents you'll play won't always be friends, but always make sure you shake hands in the end. I thought this was so important. This next one goes into it too, but sportsmanship, just dealing with loss. Things aren't always going to go your way in life, but I think it takes a dropping of ego to be able to shake that guy's hand and say, "Hey, it's all good. I'm going to get you next time." Right? How and why do you feel that that's important for children to understand? Because I feel like somebody who's not in athletics that moves on with life without accepting that, there's a certain level of victimism, of finger pointing, of this and that. I feel like that's so important for kids, no matter what organized um, team you play in. Is that kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it's such a competitive sport, and you can get so caught up in the ego and wanting to be better than this person, and wanting to show them up or beat them. But at the end of the day, when you kind of step back from it, especially when you're not playing anymore, you look back and you think, wow, these people are actually the ones that taught me, hey, maybe I'm not, maybe I need to work on my left more. Maybe I need to, work on this, work on that. And they kind of teach you. They're more teachers than.
And you again have to accept loss. That hey, they were the better team that day, right? They beat us fair and square. But I feel like kids who miss out on that aspect, I think you could translate into not so good ways in life. That having that as an athlete really helps them, right? Continue to deal with those things. Very cool. Let's move. Let's see. What do we got? I can see it's in this reflection. Basketball is a balance, so always try and explore. If you can dribble with your right, use your left that much more. And I think this goes back to improving your weaknesses, right? Right hand's good, but you fear your left hand sucks, improve your left hand. Carries on with life, right? Being a perfectionist, always trying to get better. Gary Vee disagrees. He says double down on your strengths, screw your weaknesses. Well, that's a little more in business. That's not in basketball. But constant improvement. Is that kind of your message?
I think, there's the literal, teaching for, athletes, for basketball players of, working on your weaknesses. But I think, in the greater scheme of things, I think it's a lot what, my wife teaches me about, life is about balance. It's about being able to, too much of one thing is good, too much of another thing isn't good. Finding that kind of middle way, that's kind of the key. So I think it applies to sports as well.
Look them in the eye and tell them good game. Why did you want to look them in the eye? I mean, completely release ego. Don't show crappy body language. Accept it for what it is, right? I remember being frustrated in 17 and approaching this wise senior, and I was like, "Oh, how do I get better? I did this. I should have done this." And I was so constantly down on myself. And Steve looked at me and said, "Roman, you live to play another day, my man. You live to play another day. Don't be so hard on yourself, And I was just going to be a freshman there. We had a whole bunch of seniors who left and just constantly want to be better. But you can't overdo it. There has to be a level of optimism there of next play, right? Forget about it. Don't dwell on that. And I appreciate that, by the way. Obviously, I remember that. I'm being almost 32 now. What Steve told me when we were 17. God damn, we're old. We know each other that long.
We're old.
That's pretty. I love this. To me, is leadership defined right here. When you're the best on the court, show others the way, help them become better players today. If you're having some trouble and don't get it as quick, asking for others for help just might do the trick. For the second part, let's start with the first part. You're the best on the court, show the others the way, help them become better players today. I'll let you go first. To me, that's leadership defined right there, right?
Yeah, I think there's, like you're saying, it's what being a leader is.
Removing ego, being humble.
Yeah, but I mean, you never know. I think this page could apply to the same person. There's days when you will be the best and maybe helping others when they need help. But there's going to be times when you ain't the best on the court, or in life, and sometimes you're asking for people around you for help, I think
Right.
there's a lot of value.
Right. And you're within your team. You're only as strong as your crappiest player, right? Your weakest link. So you should be constantly wanting a true leader who's good enough. He's going to want to help others. And it's crazy to me how afraid kids are of just asking, right? Others and asking for help. I don't know if that goes back
As an adult,
to ego.
As an adult too, it's hard to ask for help.
It is, but I remember I was calling Paul Fangera, and I didn't even know him. And I'm like, dude, I want to be better. I want to get better at the sport. What should I do? And I think that probably surprised people. Who the hell is this kid? He's got no ego. He's actually asking for help. So he told me what protein to drink, what this to do, and then I wanted to surround myself with him as well. Paul was a teammate of yours at Midi as well, and that led on to so many things. And I tell my nephews this all the time, like, who's the best player at your school? Tell me in the next 5 seconds you'll be able to say his name. And they go, boom. I go, walk up to him at recess, and I want you to go up to him, and I want you to ask him where they're hooping, I don't want to do that. Oh, I thought you said you want to get better. I thought you said you want to make the team. And he went and did that, and boom, he was off. And if that guy's where he is, he's not going to reject you. If he does, he's an asshole. But he's not going to reject you. He's more likely to say, yeah, absolutely, right, and help you out. You can't be afraid to ask. And I think that's what the second embodies. If you're having some trouble, don't get it as quick. Asking others for help just might do the trick. This is some pretty crazy stuff. So obesity is, obviously epidemic in our children. In this one, you felt you wanted to address all day in the gym may be good for your heart, but hard work in the classroom sets good players apart. Obviously, you focused on education, but this formula pretty unique. What the heck? What made you come up with this idea? It says, Steve, you're not just your body, you're also your mind. A smart basketball player is one of a kind.
You got it, man.
So it has these kind of puzzles within. And again, check out the link in the description if you really want to see it. Hey, Mr. Carlos, good to see you. But break this one down for Mr. Carlos is an artist himself, so he'd probably be impressed by this. Who had the idea to throw that kind of cryptic puzzle within the formula? Is that just the nerd in you? What made?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just sometimes I don't know where things come from, but yeah, it was just an idea, and I thought it was cool.
But you felt it's important to also display the aspect of, obviously priorities, academics before basketball, but also letting the reader, the parents, and the kids know that exercise very important.
Yeah,
right?
I think exercise. I think that again, it goes back to the balance thing.
You're not just your body; you're also your mind.
Yeah, but I think there's you need to practice. You need to practice. But I think school and things like that, it makes you a thinker. It helps you to think. It helps you to figure out problems. Mm-hmm. And when you can think, and when you're smart on the basketball court, it's like, man, you're untouchable. Right? It's like smart guys on the court are.
100%. I couldn't agree more. It's such a thinking sport, and it's actually not a physique type sport. Even though you're as swole as you were, and still are, back then, basketball and weightlifting, it's more essentially to prevent injury in our sport, right? You look at Kevin Durant and all of them, they're not the biggest guys, but what's more important is, that's what I had here. You remember the Princeton team, it's a game of pass, intelligence, technique always beats muscle, right? As far as footwork in the post and so forth, that kind of embodied this for me. You hit me, man. You made me. I was choking up crying the other day. Playing defense alone would make anyone fear, so make sure to speak up to let others know when you're near. Communication? Setting screens? Like you said. You're not alone, kiddo. Someone's always got your back. If you make a mistake, they'll help get you on track. When we made a mistake, we had to run liners with Puo.